Hello, one and all. This is my review, reaction, and cut content discussion of That Time of Reincarnated Slime, Season 3, Episode 4. And right off the bat, I am seeing a huge issue with this scene. There's not supposed to be snow here. The light novel is very specific. There is a giant barrier over the entire city that keeps it the perfect temperature all year long. So they're able to grow crops 24/7 and avoid starvation. In fact, this is actually really like a metaphor for the country itself, where everyone is not necessarily happy, but more tranquil, more serene. They don't really have any worries or concerns, which, Hinata makes a big comparison between that and Inglacia, where she spent some time. She's like, yeah, when I was there, the kids, they would run around, they'd be happy, they'd be smiling, whereas here, everyone just seems like, all right, let's do this. How you doing today? All right. And it kind of bothers her, but at the same time, she's aware this is, at least as far as she can tell, the best way to establish peace. The best way to make sure that nobody has to suffer ever again. I think that's a rather limited, mindset. Suffering leads to creation. It leads to innovation. It leads to people pushing themselves and doing better, but, it's Hinata. She is well beyond being stubborn. But anyway, let's get started in 3, 2, 1. Am I right? No, I didn't do that. Alright, whatever. Let's get started for real then. Yeah. So, Master Rook Sar has some big issues with Hinata because, well, basically he is the leader of the anti-Hinata faction. Essentially, he used to be the captain of the chief knight of the Master Rooks, and then Hinata came along and took the position from him. In fact, let's rewind back a little bit. So, just to make things clear, over here are the Master Rooks, Sar, Grigori, and Glenda, and over here are the Crusaders, Renner the Jester, Arnid Bauman, Bacchus of Earth, Elitus the Healer, Guard of Fire, and Fritz of Wind. So, no, that's Fritz of Wind, I think. Anyway, so Paladins, Crusaders, over here, Battle Sages. And surprisingly, Hinata is the leader of both of them. As far as I can tell, these are supposed to be like two fully separate organizations within the church that fill different roles, but Hinata was so overwhelmingly powerful, she basically said, no, I'm going to rule both of you, and if you complain, I'll kick your butt. In fact, she did kick Sar's butt quite badly, which is why, while he does, badmouth her quite a bit, he's never actually going to try to confront her until he can figure out a way to actually beat her, which, yeah, man, I'm sorry, she is well beyond your level. Also, even though he is the leader of the anti-Hinata faction, he still does respect her and the work she's done, because before she came along, the Paladins, the Crusaders, the Master Rooks, they just all kinda sucked a lot. There was no real organization, but she took control and she managed to whip them into shape and turn them into an incredibly powerful fighting force. Also, I do want to say how much I appreciate the fact there are other people in the background, because that was mentioned in the light novel, and when I was reading it last night, I thought to myself, yeah, there's no way they're actually going to include it. It's going to be the main players. They're not going to, waste the resources to draw background characters, but they did, and I really do like that. And not even just like, copy and paste of one another. They all feel very different, unique, which, very interesting. Like that. Oh, also, something I should probably mention, even though Sar looks like a child, he is in fact the oldest person in this room, other than the Emperor, but the Emperor's a vampire, so he is the oldest human in this room, and that's because everyone here, or at least everyone sitting down, is an enlightened, basically meaning that they're humans who actually evolve. Yes, humans can in fact evolve into a half-spiritual being who doesn't really need to eat or sleep all that much and have, much longer lifespans. Whereas Hinata is actually evolved a stage beyond that to a saint, a basically fully spiritual life form who is incredibly powerful and arguably immortal, or at least really close to being immortal. But even though Hinata is the only actual saint, these 10 people are actually referred to as the 10 Great Saints. It's kind of like a counter to the 10 Great Demon Lords, basically. Ooh, Glendon, that smile. Very concerning. But, yeah, he's also raising some very good points. If, she had actually managed to stop Rimuru, if she actually managed to kill Rimuru, then the Falmus army wouldn't have been destroyed, and Veldora may not have awoken. I'm actually not sure what would happen to Veldora if Rimuru died, since, Veldora is inside his stomach. Would you just, pop up right then and there? I mean, that would be hilarious if a seal of Veldora popped up right in front of Ingracia. I think that would very much razzle Hinata. Oh, incompetent loser like you. Oh, he's sassy. I love it. Yeah, also there's, like I said, the Crusaders and Master Rooks are two very different organizations, and there's a bit of tension between them. It really is hilarious that Hinata managed to basically become the leader of both of them. Okay, there is the Holy Emperor behind them. Yeah, behind his sheets, which is kind of important since, he's an immortal vampire, and it'd be really hard to explain to people why he just doesn't age and is the same person he was, decades and decades ago. But also because, yeah, that's actually, not thinking about it, at least one of the Crusaders has actually fought the Demon Lord before. Has actually fought this dude's twin brother before. I mean, that was like a big purpose of, Luminous the Vampire, or the fake Luminous Demon Lord Vampire. I mean, he basically inspired Fear in the People to be the heel to draw people into the church. And so it's a little bit weird that his twin brother is, the face of the church, or the hidden face of the church. That feels, I know there's a cloth there, but I still think someone might make that connection and recognize him. Yeah, basically saying, if you can beat me, you're free to take the job from me, which he can't. He absolutely cannot beat her. Or at least not yet. He actually hasn't given up hope that he will one day manage to beat her, thinking she somehow tricked him, thinking there's some sort of, gimmick to her powers, but yeah, she's just in fact really that insanely strong, essentially. Yeah, that's kind of shocking for everybody, but also, it's peaceful. There's no issues, there's no monster attacks. It's an awesome place to go visit. Yeah, that's a bit of an understatement. Seriously, there is a giant highway connecting the nation to two other nations, with more highways being built this very minute. Actually, in the light novel, she even says that the highways are cleaned of animal waste regularly. Also, really didn't mention, this entire city was built over the course of like 2 freaking years, and it's already better than most other cities in this world. And humans playing with goblins, that like fully defies the understanding of the church. Oh, I actually love this inclusion. Seriously, I'm assuming this is mother watching her child play with goblins and not having a care in the world. That must absolutely break the mind of this church, whose number one tenet is don't hang out with monsters. Well, that's not because Veldora is sealed there, that's because that's where they're doing their research into creating magic potions. Veldora is off, reading manga in the Capitol building or whatever. Yeah, no it hasn't. Yep. The new king is gathering a lot of people to come fight and kill the last king and maybe kill Rimuru as well. As insane as that plan might be. And also, how is he paying for all these talented mercenaries? His brother, the last king, already gave Rimuru all of his money. He should be broke. Is he just basically saying hey, if you win this war, then you get paid? I mean, that's not entirely uncommon for historical mercenary work. They only get paid if they win the war. Though, that being said, there have been many instances across history where when they fail to win the war and they fail to get paid, the mercenaries basically just sack the nation that hired them. Yeah, really. I mean, you're just basically hiring random people, not even hiring, forcing random people to join you to fight a war. They have no chance of winning. You've already lost all of your trained soldiers. They could do nothing. Now you're hoping, we'll just keep throwing peasants at them until the enemy is dead or until we're completely wiped out. There we go. Merchants from the east once again. The same merchants from the east who led Falmouth in the original invasion, the same merchants from the east who tricked Hinata into attacking Rimuru. All that comes back to the merchants. I love this. At this point, Hinata's thinking to yourself, good lord, Rimuru is such a talented and brilliant strategist. How are we ever going to be able to overcome him? When the truth is, it's Diablo and Raphael who are the real strategists. But Rimuru gets the credit for all of it, which I so love. Also, I know a lot of people are going to say, Hinata should have listened to Rimuru, but again, the core tenet, the main principle of her religion that she has devoted her life to is don't listen to monsters. And for 99% of monsters, that is 100% true. Yeah, Glinda has the habit of making promises without actually, having any intention of following through with them. And this is honestly my favorite interactions in the light novel, because Glinda's thinking, oh my god, Hinata is such a softie, she listens to whatever I says, she'll never, turn against me because she loves us, she loves all of her followers. In fact, she even says to Hinata, fellow followers in her chosen faith were like family, and that she is soft to them, whereas Hinata's thinking, maybe I should kill her. I don't know for sure that she's betrayed me, but this attitude of hers, I mean, if I kill her, it could really, get the others in line, which... Oh, I love you, Hinata. I absolutely freaking love you. You're cold as ice. Yeah, because basically she doesn't actually love her knights all that much. Rather, she views them as important pawns working for Loomis, working for the religion that she values above all else. Yeah, that's a fairly good point. Veldora is literally an embodiment of complete and absolute destruction, and if Rimuru is able to tame him, if Rimuru is able to keep him from going on a rampage, people will put a lot of trust and faith in him because he's basically the only thing holding back a series of nuclear bombs. Oh, this will be fun. Wow, that is quite an oracle, as she's basically saying, if we kill Rimuru, then Veldora will go out of control and kill us all. Oh, that's going to be controversial. I don't think it was actually worded that way in the light novel either. I think she just said basically don't attack Rimuru, but yeah, that is a very, very good argument against it. Oh, that is such a dumb line. Seriously, man. I mean, okay, part of this is because there is an issue with the actual term Demon Lord, as it means two different things. One is someone who's accepted by the other Demon Lords as a Demon Lord, at which case basically you say, hey, I want to be a Demon Lord, and if none of them object to it, like, alright, you're a Demon Lord, awesome. The other hand, though, is those who are awakened, those who are recognized by the world and evolve into Demon Lords. Those are true and absolute threats that only barely Hinata could even hope to maybe stand up against, whereas the rest of them would get obliterated instantly. So, yeah, his claim that, they could take out Rimuru isn't entirely wrong if they view him as a Demon Lord, but if they view him as an awakened Demon Lord, that is an absolute, absolute lie. And the fact that he says no Demon Lord can get the better of us is just very weirdly worded, as he 100% has to know that even if the entire church fought someone like Gi or Milim, they would lose. They would 100% lose. Huh. That's a gun. She has a gun strapped to her leg, which I think creates problems with the cannon in some ways, but I mean, yeah, I have questions about that, honestly. Yeah, really. I mean, Hinata is well and truly willing to sacrifice herself. It means creating peace with Rimuru. If her goddess says we need to make peace with Rimuru, she's willing to literally lay down her life to ensure that peace happens. Oh, she is a good soldier, and I love her for that. Oh, yeah, Hinata, this is gonna get really awkward for you in about 5 minutes. Hey, she said the name of the series, kinda. Okay, I'm not sure I show here, but there's actually a very long discussion here about how exactly Rimuru came to this world, because dying and reincarnating as a slime in another world is impossible. I wouldn't say impossible, it happened, but it is such a rarity that literally nobody has ever heard of it happening before. I almost feel as if I've wronged him. Well, you did try to murder him, which, helped his entire city get attacked, and a lot of people died as a result. You absolutely did wrong him, girl. Oh my god, that evil smile, seriously. Remember, it didn't look that twisted when he was killing 20,000 people. Yeah, really. I mean, like I said, core tenet, don't talk, don't interact with monsters, and she's willing to go there and personally apologize to him. That is well beyond talking. And here's where things start to get complicated. Yay. Archbishop Rame, and that's Cardinal Nicholas, who is a chief advisor of the Holy Emperor, and somebody who Hinata describes as a loyal puppy. Oh, like I said, this is where things get complicated. Really, dudes, you gotta go this big, dramatic, flashy entrance? In the light novel, you just walked in with this dude, but here, no, we need to appear in a flash of light to show our holiness. These are such attention seekers. They aren't even here in person. They're just ghosts. They're just astral projecting or whatever. Such attention seekers. Also, Light Novel says that these guys don't actually talk. They use thought communication like monsters do. They aren't monsters, but they use thought communication for some reason. I'm not actually sure why. That's a very good question, and I'm honestly surprised nobody is really reacting all that much to the floating ghost who just popped in. Seriously, like this dude, hey, Hinata, what's going on? Not, weapons drawn, like, what's going on? Who are you guys? Yeah, even Cardinal Nicholas is sweating here because these are the 7 luminaries, or 3 of the 7 luminaries. Yes, literally from Legends. Even though these dudes are literally the highest ranking knights in the church, they have never even seen these dudes. They've never seen the 7 luminaries because they never interact with literally anybody. Yeah, now they gotta stand up. Now they gotta show some respect. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Hinata's skill, Usurper, has two modes. Seize and copy. Copy lets her, as the name implies, copy the skill and use it as her own, whereas Seize lets her take the skill for herself, basically steal it from the people. And she even says, here, I probably should have just stolen their skills, because these dudes suck so much. Seriously, they do absolutely nothing but sit around and try to reinforce their own power rather than doing their actual job of training the next generation of heroes. In fact, Hinata was so disgusted by them that she started training the next generation of knights as soon as she finished the trials to make sure that, she was able to accomplish the role they were supposed to be filling. They're also just really annoyed that Hinata is doing everything so well, so they try to sabotage her a lot because they are just super jealous. Yeah, really. I love this. He's basically just doing a full-on confession here, saying, these are my crimes, these are my sins, this is everything I did. It was wrong, it was selfish, it was greedy. Please give me absolution, please give me some form of forgiveness. I am so sorry for what I did. I attacked someone I should never have attacked. And he slaughtered us all. Love that. I still love that shot. This is the strongest knight in the entire country, and it took one hit for him to be fully killed. Oh, that was beautiful. Yeah, so it took Hinata all of like 5 seconds to figure out exactly how this spell worked, while everyone else is just fully, flailing their arms like, what is this? How does it work? How is it breaking through our barrier? Oh my god! I mean, it certainly helps that she has, the scientific knowledge from Japan like Rimuru does, but still, she is crazy smart. Though, actually, in something else I really love in the light novel, she also figured out, alright, all I need to do to counter that is basically just throw some dirt in the air, make it a little dusty around me, and the light would be dispersed, and that's it, we'd win. So, yeah, I mean, this is a skill, this is a power that even Rimuru realized isn't all that effective if he keeps using it. It's very easy to figure out countermeasures for it, like, for example, attacking on a cloudy day or attacking at night. But still, a very powerful skill for those who have never seen it before. Almost completely unblockable. Yeah, his merciless skill. Oh, I love the terror. I love the absolute terror. Yeah, okay, this is the point. This is the point where they realize that they have totally and completely messed up. Okay, so like I was saying before, there's a difference between someone being a demon lord and someone being a true demon lord, an awakened demon lord. And the requirement to actually make that happen is a lot of human sacrifices. Malim and Gi both destroyed entire cities, and as a result awakened into true demon lords. And now Rimuru just killed 20,000 people by himself, which would give him the soul count needed to awaken, meaning their foe is possibly as strong as Gi or Malim. I mean, he's not, but they can't really rule out that possibility right now. I mean, he's already kind of, a threat beyond their control. If you guys think you can actually take out Rimuru and Valdora and the City of Monsters at the same time, you're nuts. You're completely and absolutely nuts. I mean, they did attack him first and killed a lot of his people. I'm just saying. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Just as, things start going Hinata's way, the luminaries are like, hey, didn't you have something else you wanted to say? Isn't there like some other message you wanted to give from Rimuru? I mean, I'm just saying, I think there might be something else. God, I hate these guys. Yeah, so unsurprisingly, that was not Rimuru's actual freaking message. Rimuru wouldn't have, bothered making a crystal ball to just say something like that, and he wouldn't have issued a threat that was just wide. None of that makes any sense whatsoever, and even Hinata realizes in this moment, okay, something's very fishy right now. I feel like I'm being led into a trap. Yeah, like I said, even Hinata realizes there's something very funky going on right here, but she doesn't really have much of a choice other than just going to talk to Rimuru in this moment. She needs to figure it out for herself. Yeah, the church just happens to have a magical sword that specifically can murder a true dragon, that specifically can murder Veldora, and somehow Luminous never bothered mentioning that to Hinata, even though Veldora is her greatest enemy. That's not suspicious at all. Don't be silly. And of course, they had to make big dramatic exits as well. These guys are so desperate for attention. And again, it should not be snowing in this country. They specifically said there should be perfect weather 24/7. That's interesting. I actually skipped over a scene I really like of Hinata waking up and this dude making her breakfast and coffee. He is basically her maid, her manservant, even though he is a chief consultant of the Parisy. He is incredibly, insanely high-ranking, and yet he is, as Hinata described, a loyal puppy to her. Yeah! Wow, that is some real panic in Raphael's voice. Also, what's with the antenna? I mean, that does make sense. Hinata coming towards them is concerning. Oh, I'm an idiot. That wasn't Raphael's voice. That was, I forgot this girl's name. That was her voice, who was keeping an eye on Hinata and just all the roads to Tempest. Yep. Like I said, things got complicated because of course they're not going to let Hinata go face Rimuru by themselves. They're going to serve as her bodyguards, willing to lay down their lives to make sure that she can either take out Rimuru or escape alive. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. The dude who was literally in what should have been the safest place in the world, the church itself, was murdered after giving a message that was suspiciously short from Rimuru, which he was only reminded about by one of the 7 Day Clergy. That's not suspicious at all. Yeah, this is honestly Diablo's greatest... Yeah, this is like probably his greatest mistake in this entire series. He was too trusting. He was too certain that Rahim would be okay. And even though Rimuru tried to warn him that they would try to silence him, and he was absolutely... In this moment, he's absolutely terrified that Rimuru is going to fire him, strip away his name, kick him out, whatever. Yep, so now we are in a full-on war between Tempest and the Church. The very thing Hinata spent this entire episode saying, we need to avoid this at all costs. And because she's traveling, she doesn't know that all these knights are being called out to go to battle, so yeah, that's bad. That's really, really bad. Oh, things are about to get really fun. I mean, it's 4 episodes in, and it's mostly been, conferences, people talking around, people deciding on things, but moving on. Next episode is where things are going to get really fun. Let's actually see. Those approaching, yeah, it makes sense. Hinata is approaching Tempest. It will take a while. I mean, Inglacia and Tempest are very far apart, and Hinata doesn't have a direwolf to ride, just a regular old horse, so Oh, that was a good episode. That was a really good episode. All right, so like I said, Hinata tried to make peace. She tried to convince them that, they can't stop Rimuru. That was even before she realized that he was a true freaking demon lord who could grow to be as powerful as freaking Gi and Malim. Oh, that's fun. And then she was basically tricked into actually attacking Tempest with a message that I think we all agree was very heavily modified by the Seven Day Clergy, who probably then went on to murder Archbishop Brahim and gave Hinata an obviously suspicious sword. Oh, fun times, fun times. So please, let me think down below. What do you think of the adaptation so far? What do you think is going to happen next? Who do you think murdered Archbishop Brahim? I mean, I think it's pretty obvious right now. And how is Hinata going to, react to learning that there's basically a full-on invasion happening without her say-so? Also, again, I just really need to point out this one scene here because I love it so, so much. Seriously. Humans and goblins playing together as equals is just so absolutely adorable and so opposite of what the church, stands for. This was such a great addition. Honestly, one of my favorite parts of this episode. Anyway, though, please leave a link down below. Until next time, peace!